Oh, it's live, pal.
Here's a guy that is starting to figure the game out.
Those are facts. Print that. Tweet that.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
What's going on, everybody? Welcome to the the pilot episode of Let's Effing Go. I don't want to say the word right off the rip because I feel like that would get me kicked right off of YouTube, and none of this would be worth it. What's going on? I'm Dave Sturchio. This is just a pilot. This is just kind of like a tester, kind of like a preview episode of what's to come on a show like this. This is something that I've been wanting to do for quite some time. You know, I've done a million solo shows, but never live. And I know this isn't live right now. And I know the first one kind of defeats the purpose because it's not live. But I'm working out all the bells and the whistles of this show and all the specifics of this show. So I'm very happy, honored and glad that you've joined me here today on this first one. There's a lot to get into, obviously, in the world of sports. But this is what this podcast is going to be about. I guess the goal right now is to get like-minded people on this show. Now, I know I wanted to do it once upon a time with another show and another show before that, another show before that. A little background on me. I've been doing podcasting since 2014. I've been in broadcast media since 2006. So it's a long journey, right? 2006 is a very long time ago. I graduated college. I went right into broadcasting school, went to the old Connecticut School of Broadcasting. Shout out to my classmates there who have made big moves in the world of sports media. I'm talking to you, Pep. I'm talking to you, Filthy. I'm talking to Pat DJ Moose, who actually did the internship with the New York Giants with me. It's the Jameis, not DJ Moose, but that's what he was called. Shout out to those guys. I did a wonderful relationship and internship with the New York Football Giants. Now, if you know me, you know that I absolutely hate the New York Giants. But when it comes to getting your foot in the door, that's what I wanted to do. I wanted to get on some kind of team, some kind of professional organization. Look, a lot of these people, they start with, minor league baseball or the independent league or somewhere else, smaller scale. For me, I thought, landing a job with the New York Jets is where I applied, would be beneficial to me. And lo and behold, the Giants called me. Mr. Steve Venditti and Joe Scacciaferro of Faro Productions hired me. I went to the interview with a star on my truck, right? Everybody knows me as a Dallas Cowboy fan. As far as my team allegiances are concerned, the Cowboys are 1. 1A would be the New York Yankees, 1B would be the New York Rangers, and 1C would be the New York Knicks. I classify them all as my squads. Football, to me, has always been leaps and bounds, better than any other sport. That's where I was raised. That's what I played as a kid. That's what I, just grew up captivated by. And I had myself a fantastic childhood with the New York area being just hating. They hated me because, 92, 93, 95, Cowboys were winning Super Bowls, right? And since then, nothing to it. I've gotten used to it. I'm fine. I'm still here, right? But anyway, so broadcast media was my thing up until 2007, 2008, when it all kind of turned into, hey, Dave, you're an adult, go get a job, go get some money in your pocket, So the dream kind of went away, but not went away, just put it on the back burner for a little while as I went to the jobs like Enterprise Rent-A-Car. I was selling gym memberships. I was doing all sorts of stuff that I didn't like to do. But I knew deep down that one day something was going to pop, and I didn't know what. And then, lo and behold, in 2012, I discovered that I also had another dream that was kind of laying dormant. I will preface this in saying that, a lot of this was inspired by my best friend, John. He passed away in 2007, literally the day before I was supposed to go on to Albany to report to Giants training camp. So that was a earth-shattering moment, but I knew deep down that the dude wanted me to succeed. He wanted me to keep moving and keep going forward and all that stuff. So I started chasing the world of professional wrestling in 2012, and before I knew it, 3 months in, Dave Destruction was born in the Rawway Rec Center in front of a boatload of people, a lot of friends and family. That was a fun run from 2012 to about 2014. I was active. I was, wrestling once or twice a month. I was doing my thing. I was creating a nice little fan base for myself. Had some great matches, had some shit matches, had, it's up and down. 2014, right after my claim to fame, which everybody knows if you're a follower of mine or a friend of mine for a long time, you know that my big match was against Hacksaw Jim Duggan. Yep, that same guy. I lost that match. It doesn't matter. That was a fun one. But 2 weeks later, I tore my ACL and my meniscus. And then from there was a 10-month recovery. I did come back to the ring, but I realized over time that like maybe my strengths weren't in the ring, but maybe on the outside of the ring, considering I went to school to be a sports writer, to be a broadcaster, to be an announcer, all that stuff. So I had the background, and lo and behold, Pat Buck, owner of WrestlePro right now, back then was PWS. We were looking for they were looking for a Joe Rogan. They were looking for a guy that could do some interviews, that could do some media. So I kind of put my name in the hat there. In September of 2016, I wrestled my final match because I was against a man by the name of Christopher Avery Culing, CAQ. Took a nasty, nasty clothesline to the back of the head, knocked me pretty much loopy and unconscious for that minute in front of a lot of loved ones. So you could only imagine the feeling that was going in through them when I kind of came to, and I was like, what just happened? Did I lose? Did I win? So from there, I decided let's kind of segue and just do that, the broadcasting and the announcing stuff. So that was 2016 all the way up until now. I'm a present day announcer for WrestlePro, one of the top independent wrestling companies in the world, I think. And I only say that because I work there. No, I truly believe that. I think Kevin Matthews and Pat Buck have put together something special. There's a filtering system with the school. It's a great, great program. So if you're ever interested in becoming a professional wrestler, hit me up. I might know a guy or two. But in 2000 and when the hell was it? It was probably around 2019. I was podcasting. I was doing a lot of wrestling podcasts, a lot of stuff like that. But 2019 into 2020, I got my first break in the world of sports media after the Giants, obviously, and I was hired by the Cowboys Wire of USA Today, and I started writing about the Dallas Cowboys. Shout out to KD Drummond, who gave me this opportunity. It was actually the trial was for me to write about and cover the Mike McCarthy press conference when he was hired by the Cowboys. So that all came to, I got my opportunity over there. I started writing for the Cowboys. It was really surreal. All in the mix, I was still wanting to talk Dallas Cowboys. So I actually hit up my favorite comedian at the time was Brett Ernst. He's an up-and-coming guy from New Jersey. He was Guido, Italian, my paisan. So I was like, screw it. I'm going to hit him up and see if he wants to be a guest on my show. Lo and behold, a conversation or two later, the Jersey Boys podcast was created, and I think that's I personally, I think it's one of the best, most authentic Dallas Cowboy podcasts out there. Me, Brett, and his brother Keith started that. I was very excited to get started with those guys. When I met them, again, I didn't know them from anybody else. But over the last 2-3 years, 4 years now, I don't even know what the hell. Yeah, maybe almost 4 years, I've gotten to know these guys. I've actually gotten to hang out and meet Brett outside of the comedy world. We went to Dallas and watched the Cowboys stomp the Eagles last year, so that was fun. And according to him, it was supposed to be an exhibition. That's a Rocky IV reference. So lo and behold, I'm doing the Cowboys thing. I'm doing the Cowboys Wire. The Cowboys Wire then picks up the podcast and enables me to get some feedback and downloads over there on their publication. Then Blogging the Boys of SB Nation comes calling. And I think that, when I first met RJ Ochoa, editor and producer, editor-in-chief of that said company, real nice dude, family man, real cool guy, big Cowboys guy. He had given the opportunity for me, Brett, and Keith to jump on over there, bigger platform as far as listenership in the podcast / YouTubeville area, right? We're not talking about publication because I think the Cowboys Wire does wonderful things and they get a wonderful reach on all their articles. So shout out to all those guys. Keep grinding over there. So 2020, 2021, I'm doing all this stuff for Blogging the Boys. The reach is there. My following is growing via the Cowboys because I think that's, what I know most of. So that's where it's been. And I wanted to one day put it all together. How do I put it all together? Well, in December of 2020, when the world was shut down, I was doing my Jersey Boys podcast. I was coming up with a way to do my own media company, and I did launch it for about 6 months. It was called Stellar Sports Media, named after my daughter, and Stella. I was on my own. I didn't know what to do. I was just like putting the watermark on everything, saying that's my media. It's just like, I don't know. It wasn't working out. And lo and behold, in late December, I got a message from a guy that I've known since like 2010, 2011, Chris Gucci. He was a bartender at Big Shots in Woodbridge. That's how I met him. Me and him have had countless and constant arguments about the Cowboys, the Packers, the Yankees, everything that we've kind of known about each other for years on social media and in the bar. And, you never want to get in a debate with me late at the bar. It's just not a good scene. But anyway, so me and him stayed friends the entire time. And he said he had just started a Facebook group entitled Chop Sports. So I said, sure, why not? I don't know what the hell it is, but I'll join, Turned out to be like a virtual sports bar. I think it was very cool. I think it was, there was no bars open. So, you grab your favorite six-pack, you sit down, you start scrolling social media, and you get in debates with your friends. Like sometimes it got heated, sometimes it didn't. But since then, we decided one day we wanted to do a podcast on our own. The Chop Sports podcast was born. We get some studio space. The rest is history. I really don't want to get too deep into all the stuff that we have had to go through the first couple years, but Chop Sports Media is here, and it's been here for a couple years now. We are in year 3 with some big things on the horizon. So if you want to check us out, chopsportsmedia.com and or chopstudiosnj.com will get you to the website, and you can see everything that we got going on. So with that, it is time for me to dive into the world of sports because that's what I do first. I do want to preface this by saying that I will have guests on. I will have some prominent guests on. I'm talking, people that I've made connections with over the years who I feel like have a massive following with a big reach. So obviously that's why I would want to bring them on. So my name can get out there as well. I mean, I'm not going to lie to anybody. People know exactly why I want to do that. But they're people that I respect and people that I really hold near and dear to my heart as far as like information, sports, life, just, entertainment, comedy, everything. You name it, I want them on my show. I want them on Let's Fucking Go. I want them there. And that's been my catchphrase for a couple. I know everybody and their sister use this catchphrase. So it's not like I've, coined it mine or I trademarked it or anything like that. But I'm close. No, I'm kidding. But that's what I wanted to do my show. I feel like I'm a high energy guy. I'm a positive dude most of the time. I do listen, just like anybody else, whether you're a business owner or you're not, you go through these waves where, you do have some ups and downs and, sideways and you don't know which way to go. I'll be the first one to tell you I'm a very big advocate for mental health awareness. I think that it's not talked about enough. I think you have to go out there and you have to talk to your friends. You have to talk to your family. You have to talk to people. Talk to your therapist. I went 2 rounds of therapy, and it was some of the most beneficial things I've ever done because, man, oh man, there was people that were like, dude, you good, right? And I'm just like, yeah, I'm fine. Like people saw it. They saw it through me. So it was something that I knew that I wanted to do. And I did it. And I'm not saying I'm graduated from it because I'm not. But I will say that I do have different coping mechanisms and ways to get through these hard days. And when you grow in a business and you're trying to get this thing off the ground, it takes a little while. It's not easy by any stretch. And it will take, it will pay. You will pay the price over the course of time if you don't sleep and you don't, treat your body right and you don't get out there and lift some weights and do some cardio and all this stuff. Like I'm personally responsible for my own body. I mean, that's the only thing I got. The only thing I got left is that, the voice, the eyes. Like you lose those things and you start to deteriorate and then you no longer have a business. But yeah, so there's a backstory that can keep going on and on. I did start a sit down with Sturch over last year. I've had some great guests on, and that's what I was kind of alluding to before. That one I felt like was more of the broader scale of a record, shoot, edit, post, right? And I think that this one will be more majority live. It will be interactive. It'll be with you, the listener, with you, the viewer, and hopefully I can make some new friends and we'll have a ball. So let me get into the first topic right here, and it is the pitch clock. I have to talk about this because it's something that kind of rubbed me the wrong way when I first heard about it. Look, baseball has been trying very hard to change the game and cater to the younger audience. Now, I don't believe that's the way to do it because, look, if these kids didn't like baseball to start, you're not going to get them to like baseball to go, right? You're not all of a sudden going to change their minds and say like, what the hell with soccer? I'm in on baseball. Baseball is an old man sport. It is it's our national pastime, right? But guys like me, my age, 37, and I'm old. 37 and younger, or 37 and older, will love baseball no matter how they produce it, right? couple years younger than me. I think they'll do the same. My brother, a couple years younger than me, he still loves baseball the way it is, right? You start getting into these 20-year-old kids and these teenagers right now, and a lot of them are losing focus and passion for baseball because it's a slower sport. It's individualized. It's literally pitcher, batter, whoever the ball gets hit to, right? Like it's not a team sport per se. But to me, baseball's always been pure outside of the whole steroid era. But listen, you're not going to hear me like banging on the desk and waving my fist at the clouds and saying, you got to stop. The steroid era is terrible. The steroid era saved baseball. The balls were starting to fly out of these stadiums and people started getting into the ballparks a lot more frequently. Just recently, like I said, you see Manny Machado right now. He was interviewed after and he said that he might have to deal with an 0-1 count to start his at-bats going forward. Now, why? Why would the hell would this rich mother effer have to deal with an 0-1 count? Is because he has a way to get into the batter's box. Everybody has their thing. You look at a guy like David Wright. David Wright had this thing where he would adjust his hat, adjust his batting gloves, tug on his shirt, tug on his sleeve, all these things right before he got into the box. So like all of a sudden and he's been doing that his whole entire life. And now you're going to tell the guy, hey, listen, you got to cut that shit and you got to get right back into the box. That's going to screw up a lot of people. And if you're not in the box on time, it's a strike. If you have 2 strikes, guess what? You're out, right? And then the pitchers. Nobody's really talking about the stamina of these pitchers. Like, what's that going to be like? A guy that averages, let's just say, a good pitcher, one of the greater pitchers in the game. Let's just put Garrett Cole out there. Let's just put Max Scherzer. Let's put Verlander, all these guys. Let's just say they have a method to their madness, and they're out there. And now you're going to make them rush to throw their next pitch, right? I know there's ways to fix this, and I don't know if this is the right way to do it. I think this is just, again, I think it's kind of fugazi. I don't like it. I think that the pitchers who used to average 6 1/3, right, are now going to be down to maybe 4 2/3 or something like that, where you just keep firing that ball. You're going to get tired, and these guys are not used to this stuff. So that's why I think it's a detrimental to the game. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Stop trying to worry about catering to the younger fan. If they don't like baseball, that's their parents' fault, okay? Like, if my son doesn't like baseball, that's because I did a bad job at raising him to make him like cricket or some other sport that nobody cares about, right? And that's no offense to those cricket players out there. They're phenomenal. But what I will say is this. If I teach my son how to play baseball, he's going to like baseball, right? Or if he doesn't, he doesn't. But, like, the whole catering to the crowd that already doesn't watch the game, it's kind of a waste. And I think that it's just one of those things where, I don't know, I just don't feel like it's beneficial to the game. You want to change the game from 3.5 hours to 3. What's that half hour going to do? And personally, if I'm going to spend the haul just to get to the game and sit there, if the game's over in 2.5 hours, I'm pissed. I got to go right back into the parking lot and drive home. Like give me 3 hours, 3.5 hours of action. You got that in football. You get about 3 hours in basketball, considering all the stuff. I know it's probably a little shorter, but like hockey is a 3-hour sport too, I think, 2.5, 2:45. But like the ambiance, everything about it is 3 hours long. You start cutting into that just because you want a quicker pace of play. I think it's detrimental, and I don't think it's any good. So I digress. Topic 2 would be what the Bears are planning on doing with the number 1 overall pick. Now, what do I think they should do? I think they should absolutely trade it. They got a lot of holes. They got a lot of money. So what do you do? Who do you trade it to? Now, I'm going to throw some name out there that I know is not being discussed. The Panthers are in the talks. The Texans are in the talks. Even the Seattle Seahawks are in the talks. Even the Raiders, who don't know what the hell's going on with Aaron Rodgers right now, are in the talks. There's one team out there with a quarterback issue right now for at least half of next season, and that's the Arizona Cardinals. The Arizona Cardinals have Kyler Murray. Are they convinced that Kyler Murray is the guy? Because I'm not. And I've said this guy has been a very reckless football player. Can he move around the pocket? Can he get outside? Can he make things happen with his legs? Absolutely he can. But he just doesn't seem like the prototypical quarterback that's going to win you the Super Bowl. Even if you look at a guy like Jalen Hurts. Jalen Hurts is built like a brick shithouse compared to Kyler Murray, right? So, and we saw he had to adjust his game a little too. He had to adjust his game. That's just the way of the world, because if you keep getting popped and you keep getting hurt, you're going to have to adjust the way the rest of the world is playing you. But yeah, so what the Bears should do is trade the pick. The Arizona Cardinals have a brand new coaching staff in there, so I think that why not have the coach evaluate, at least film of Kyler Murray and say, like, all right, this is the guy. I have already been on record in saying that defensive coordinators being hired as head coaches is wrong for the game right now because of the way and the direction the game is going. The direction in the game is going is offense, high-powered, high-scoring, all that. Then you want to bring a defensive coordinator and make him the guy? I don't think that's the right play, but I do know that the Cardinals have a brand new staff, and they're going to want to evaluate everything. If you're telling me that C.J. Stroud or one of these guys that are on the quarterback board is there for them, or they could trade up and get him, like a Bryce Young, whoever they covet. You're telling me they can't start over right now? They already did that with Kyler Murray. So don't say it's not possible. They had Josh Rosen in there, and nobody likes Josh Rosen. Nobody liked his face. Nobody liked his personality. He just sucked as a quarterback. But Kingsbury went in there and said, I don't give a shit. Kyler Murray's my guy. And now Kingsbury's gone, fired, right? So it's just like, why not make the switch, and why not do it now? I don't know. Another topic for conversation, topic for another day. But I want to thank you guys for tuning in. This is going to be obviously a lot more involved. This is going to launch very, very soon. I wanted to get something on film right now. I wanted to get the juices flowing and the wheels spinning for this show in particular. So thank you guys for watching. Like the video. Download the podcast version, which is going to be available on iTunes and Spotify. Do that. And as always, thank you for the support in my new venture. I think this is going to be a good outlet for a lot of men, like just a lot of different things. Yeah, am I a sports dude? Absolutely, through and through. But I definitely want to learn a lot more about a lot different people. And maybe even if it is an athlete, what they do in their spare time, or what else do they enjoy besides playing the sport they love. I have a Rolodex of people that I want to get on this show. And I do want to, again, shout out to those who joined me on a sit down with Sturch, because I think that was a very, very cool platform. So Nick, Gary, Paz, all you guys, thank you so much. Gary Turner, I mentioned him already. LaCorey, everybody, they're out there. Thank you guys. Of course, you guys have been rock stars. You guys gave me this idea once upon a time. So now I'm just going to follow through on it and get some content out there and get to talk about, pretty much everything. So thank you guys for watching. Love you guys. God bless. I'll see you next time.
Oh, it's live, pal.
Here's a guy that is starting to figure the game out.
Those are facts. Print that. Tweet that.
We'll do it live.